How do you buy a duplex for an investment, or even a 3 or a 4 unit, and start experiencing cash flow every single month? Today, we're going to dive into it. Let's go. Hey there, I'm Mike Fritz, founder of Titanium Capital Investments and the Multifamily CEO System. My greatest passion is helping investors just like you invest in multifamily real estate so they can see financial freedom come to them once and for all. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 ways you can invest in a duplex or a 3 or a 4 unit and start making anywhere from $500 to $2,000 a month in passive revenue. But you have to do them all. So let's get started. So the first thing you need to know when investing in a small multifamily building is it limits the locations you can invest in. Because in any certain market, it has to be zoned multifamily for one to exist there. So after you pick the city you want to invest in and then the area you want to invest in, you want to make sure that area has pockets of zoning for multifamily buildings. Because if it doesn't, you're going to have to move to a location that is zoned for multifamily. Not necessarily a bad thing. But I want you to be aware when getting into this small multifamily game that it's going to limit the areas you can invest in inside a certain city. And this can prepare you as you're looking to not waste time looking in areas that you're not going to have any success investing in. The second strategy you have to know is how to underwrite a property. What that means is how to evaluate the expenses and how to evaluate the income and make sure the income is obviously more, but make sure the income creates a good enough return for you to invest in that project. When you start investing in multifamily real estate, the underwriting process gets a little trickier, especially when you're talking about expenses. Here's why. Especially in the utility column, when you're looking at how much it costs to actually run one of these properties, there are some utilities that are shared amongst all of the tenants. Well, when you have a single family home, it's the only people that live there, they're the only one using those services. But when you have a multifamily building, the water, the sewer, and the trash often are shared amongst the tenants. So you have to decide, are you as an owner going to absorb that cost, or are you going to split that up between the tenants? A lot of times when people underwrite properties, they forget this and they don't understand how to navigate the utility discussion to make sure that their numbers aren't off when they finally buy the property and they realize they're not making as much money as they thought they were gonna. So when investing in a small multifamily building, work with the real estate agent or the seller, however you found the property, to make sure you get all the financials. Make sure you get all the profit and the loss statements. Make sure you understand all the expenses. Are they hiring somebody to mow the lawn? Are you going to mow the lawn? Is it in an area where it snows? Do they hire snow removal? Is there water, sewer, trash? Is the landlord paying for all the utilities? Is it only metered with one furnace, so one furnace takes on the entire building, so that's not broken up, so each person can pay their own gas bills. The point is, you want to make sure you go through all those financials so you don't get any surprises after you buy that building and realize there's a lot less money coming in than I was anticipating. This is one of the things that sours people's taste to multifamily real estate. They don't underwrite the property well, then they get into a project and realize, wow, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, because they didn't calculate all the expenses correctly and they didn't think through the income on how they could raise those rents or how they could add extra layers of income to offset that. If you want to invest in small multifamily, duplexes, 3 units, or 4 units, you want to make sure you can get all those expenses and make sure you're underwriting that property really well, because that will protect you from unpleasant surprises later. Hey, if you like this video, make sure you smash that like button. I mean, obliterate that thing. And also subscribe to our channel. Make sure you turn on that bell notification so you get notified every time we put out a video. Now, let's get back to the content. The third thing you want to do is locate a hungry real estate agent. If you want to buy a 2 to 4 unit building, let's locate a real estate agent that's hungry to make money. Why do I say that? A lot of times if agents have lots of clients they're working with, you kind of drift to the background. You know what I like to do? I like to find new real estate agents that have access to the MLS that I can coach and help them help find me a property, because those new agents are hungry to make a sale and they're going to work hard for you. And you can work with those new agents, tell them the kind of property you're looking for, and they will go to work for you. The next day you'll have 70 to look at, depending on the kind of market you're looking in, because these agents want to make a deal, because they want to generate some money to solidify the fact that they actually should have became a real estate agent. You can help them do that. New agents are great places to start because they want to make a deal and they're hungry to learn. And if you have been listening to our content, you'll have a lot of information to translate to them so they can help find you the kind of property that's going to make you money. The fourth strategy I want you to understand if you're going to invest in a small multifamily is understand markets and submarkets. For example, Atlanta, Georgia is a great market to invest in. But there's areas of Atlanta I wouldn't own a property in no matter if it was given to me. The truth of the matter is there's markets and there's submarkets. There's some markets like Atlanta or South Carolina or Nashville. They're great markets, but there's areas in those markets I wouldn't want to be in. Every market has a submarket. And we want to make sure, as we mentioned earlier, some places are zoned for multifamily and some aren't. We want to make sure that the places we invest in are not only zoned for multifamily, but are in good upswing markets, that are in good markets that have family feels to them, that will turn out to be a great investment after we actually get the property. This could not be more important when you're seeking to hold a property. If you're fixing and flipping a property, you can often sell that thing pretty quick. You're not having to deal with the property or deal with the tenants, and a lot of times somebody will come in and buy that, and you can make money in some of those submarkets that aren't necessarily great to buy and hold in. But when you're buying and holding, and what that means is buying a piece of property, holding it long term, which a duplex or a 3 or a 4 unit would be, you want to be in markets that are in the upswing. There's more people wanting to navigate to that side of town. Maybe Amazon's going to put in a new distribution center. There's going to be a lot of jobs on that northeast corner of Atlanta. Or there's going to be a lot of jobs because Tesla just built a plant. That's a great area to start looking around because that's where people are going to be moving, jobs are going to be coming. It's going to significantly increase the value of your property. Now, one of the ways to identify submarkets you don't want to necessarily be in is look for businesses that are in that area. Do you see a lot of businesses and retail space that's empty with boarded up windows? See pawn shops and get cash quick kind of businesses? Those often are in areas that are not conducive to investing in buy and hold real estate. So you want to stay away from those areas. But also a great line of defense here is your real estate agent. Real estate agents are paid to really learn the area. They're paid to know this is a side of town you don't want to be on. This is a side of town that's really in the upswing. When I was looking to invest in Cincinnati, I partnered with a real estate agent that told me of a specific area. Mike, I see a lot of people go into this area. This is an area we want to be looking for properties. And so that's the area we started looking for properties. Our agent was our first line of defense of finding a pocket that wasn't on the news that I was on the growth spectrum yet, but told us this is an area you want to start looking at properties. So my wife and I started looking at properties in that specific area. Your agent can be a huge help in this area. And now I want to give you a quick bonus tip, is that you want to land financing options. Start talking to your bank about what types of financing options they have available for you to invest in duplexes or smaller multifamily buildings. Some banks will really specialize in investment style properties. Others will be way more skeptical of investment style properties. So there's a lot of different loan options out there, but each bank has different packages and programs to serve you as an investor. So you want to talk to the bank you do your personal banking at first, but they may not be the best option when seeking to finance your project. In fact, the place I do my personal banking at has never loaned on one of my real estate deals because they really don't specialize in the kind of real estate I do. So I go outside my personal bank and start building relationships with other banks that really specialize in multifamily real estate. A really good way to get into multifamily real estate is do what I did when I started in House Hack. If you're in a stage of life you can pull this off, you can buy a duplex or a 3 or 4 unit and live in one of the units. Most of the time you're going to live for almost free. It's going to cut your expenses way down, which by the way gives you more money to invest in real estate, but it's going to cut your expenses down. Plus, if you do that, you can leverage what's called an FHA loan. An FHA loan, the Federal and Housing Administration, has new home buyer loans, and if you buy that duplex or 3 or 4 unit because you're going to live in it, you can leverage the FHA loan. You say, what's the power of the FHA loan? You only need 3.5% down. That's the power. When my wife and I bought our first duplex, we lived in half and rented the other side out. We got an FHA loan for $3,500. We moved into that place. Duplex, it was making us money. We lived for almost free. That's the power of the FHA loan. So if you can house hack, that's a beautiful way to get started. Now, if you're in a stage of life where you have a bunch of beautiful children and you don't want to pack them into a duplex, I get that. You can still get some great investment packages to land those deals. As a side note, when getting investment loans from banks, they're probably going to want 25 to 30% down. They're going to want a little more down on the front end because they see it as a more risky investment. You and I know that's probably not true. It generates cash, in my opinion. That's more safe than my primary residence, which doesn't generate any money, but a bank doesn't see it that way. So when you're surveying the financing options, not only survey the financing options your personal bank has, but start talking to banks in the entire area, because this will not only open up your network, but it will help you get a deal done faster. And then, let me just tell you this. If you want to get a duplex or 3 or 4 unit, don't stop till you get one. Just don't stop. Keep doing these strategies until one has your name on the title. Also, I have a free gift for you. Make sure you check out our multifamily masterclass. Go to the description, click the link for our multifamily masterclass, and you can start learning our process for landing multifamily buildings over and over and over again. I'll see you inside the training.